Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secureteam. Where have I been? Many of you have probably been asking. And yes, while I have been sort of MIA over the past week or so, it hasn't been for lack of trying. No, in fact, behind the scenes, I have been doing big things in an attempt to bring you guys more and more mystery subject matter that we love here on Secureteam. And just over the past couple of days, I am excited to let you guys know that I have secured an exclusive interview, with a man that few of you may know or have heard about, but who back during the 1970s and 80s was the lead operator and founder of one of the CIA's most secretive remote viewing programs. And many of you may be asking yourselves, well, what is remote viewing, Tyler? Well, remote viewing is a practice of seeking impressions about a distant or unseen target, purportedly using extrasensory perception or sensing with the mind. In other words, it's kind of a sixth sense that a very small group of people have that allows them, through their mind, to gather information about a location or a structure or a person that could be thousands of miles away. Almost similar to what you would think of a psychic, but I assure you that remote viewing is much more than just some psychic ability, so much in fact that Stanford University and the CIA took a very keen interest. And so before we go any further, allow me to ask for you, just who is Russell Targ?
It's natural for a visually handicapped person like me to be interested in optics, magic, and extrasensory perception. I'm a legally blind motorcycle riding physicist. In 1934, I was born in Chicago. I was a child magician. I used to perform magic tricks at birthday parties and art openings. As a magician, I understand how people can be tricked. That's always made me a better researcher, especially in a field like ESP. I left graduate school at Columbia in 1956, and in 1958, I began working on the earliest development of the laser. I was looking for a way to get into some kind of psychical research and still support my family. I heard that there was going to be a lecture at Stanford University, and there was a young physicist, Hal Puthoff, giving a lecture on psychic discoveries behind the Iron Curtain, American and Russian ESP. And I then went back and talked to my new friend Hal Puthoff and said, I think I got some dough. Let's talk to your management about creating a program. And he said, that would be very nice. You just have to promise that you'll keep a low profile. So that was in June of 1972. And this led to the beginning of our program at SRI to investigate psychic abilities. I look forward to coming to work. Every day had a new miracle. I feel like the child magician finally got a job doing magic.
So this interview that I'm going to be doing, likely this weekend, is indeed going to be with Mr. Russell Targ. Now, just to give you a little bit more of a rundown as to who this man is, well, there's actually a new documentary film that's due to come out sometime in early March, and that film is called Eye Spies. Maybe you've heard of it. Well, Eye Spies, this documentary, basically chronicles the lifelong journey of physicist Russell Targ, who is the co-founder of the Stanford Research Institute's CIA-supported ESP research program, and where over the years, Mr. Targ's quest has been to reveal to the world the reality of ESP, or these people with psychic abilities or sixth senses, and the fact that every intelligence agency of the US government has used what has become known as remote viewing in operations for intelligence gathering against the Soviets and others. And so you could say that you had a group of remote viewers, or people who had this sixth sense, the ability to use their mind to see things that were extremely far away. And this man, Russell Targ, was the physicist and the man who was running the entire operation and attempting to get it into the mainstream. Now, when hearing about remote viewing, you may remember a couple of videos that I posted a while back that surrounded the enigmatic abilities of what many have said was the single greatest remote viewer of our time, a man by the name of Ingo Swann. And well, what did Ingo Swann do? Well, if you see those videos, you'll know why I was so fascinated with him. Among other things, he was able to sit in a dark room, and he was able to then leave his body and travel out into our solar system towards the orbits of the Moon and Jupiter. And when he was finished with his remote viewing, he had written down notes about things like our moon and other planets and moons in our solar system, things that scientists and astronomers would not have the technology to find out for upwards of 15 to 20 to 30 years later. This man was able, through remote viewing, to expose things about our solar system, and it wouldn't be until years later, when we sent out our very first space probes out deep into the solar system, would this data that Mr. Swann collected through his remote viewing sessions finally become confirmed and legitimized.
Ingo is really the father of remote viewing in the modern era. Before Ingo, people were describing the picture in the envelope. He said, if I want to see what's in the envelope, I'll open the envelope. I can focus my attention anywhere on the planet, give me something interesting to look at.
And he threatened to quit. And so we asked him, well, you know, what do you mean? What would you like to do? And he says, just send somebody out in the San Francisco Bay Area and I'll describe where they are.
The first series of experiments here at Stanford Research Institute were what the scientists called remote viewing. For example, here is a reenactment of one of the first experiments last year. The subject was a New York artist named Ingo Swann. He was in the room. The experimenters, Drs. Harold Putoff and Russell Targ, were driving away in a car. Their destination was in a sealed envelope. This day it was Palo Alto City Hall. The subject did not know. But back in the room, the subject began sketching and describing where he imagined they might be. Here was the tape recording that he made then.
There must be buildings around, and this would be sort of an area enclosed of some sort, a quadrangle or a quad. And then I sort of felt that there might be a fountain around, but I didn't hear any water in it.
There is a fountain. That day, it was turned off. Back in the room, the subject sketched a pattern he thought was crosswalks coming together in a circle. In fact, the courtyard is paved in this pattern. The courtyard where they were is 2 miles from the room where the subject was. There had been no communication between them.
Swann claimed that he could move the needle of an unswayable magnetometer, buried under 30 feet of concrete, with a classified design used to sniff out nuclear explosions.
It even had superconducting shielding. Its claim to fame was that nothing from the outside could affect it.
Not only could Ingo perfectly sketch the design, but the needle moved, and nearly got them kicked out of Stanford for breaking the experiment. And that got the attention of the CIA.
Okay, so far you've learned about Russell Targ, the man that we're going to be doing the exclusive interview with, the man that this documentary is about, and the man who oversaw this entire CIA-infused operation to use remote viewers to spy on others and to find out new things regarding space and who knows what else. You've also learned a little bit about some of these remote viewers themselves, Ingo Swann being one of the most prolific. And before we go today, I figure I'll just give you one more teaser clip. letting you into yet another remote viewer's life and an incident wherein which he clearly displayed the usefulness of his remote viewing abilities. So with that, I'm going to play you that clip, and before so, I just want to let you guys know to stay tuned, because as I move through the week with other videos, I'll be giving you updates as to when this interview is coming. As I said, there is a documentary coming out called Eye Spies. I'm going to get some more info on that, and maybe some links I can put down in future videos, but I really want to interview this guy and hear about some of the things that were discovered, particularly about the backside of our moon and other areas of space. So check out this last clip from the film. Let me know if you're excited about this interview, and I will see you guys back with much more in just a bit.
So this was our very first #1 Soviet site. Pat Price was the remote viewer in this case. The CIA people came and just gave us coordinates and said, look here.
Next morning, they came back with a sketch.
And he unrolled a big picture of an R&D facility, and right in the middle of this facility was a photograph of a giant gantry crane.
So the sketch on the left is what Price produced, and this one is the one that is derived from the from the sketch from the photographic image. He said, "Oh, this was a huge crane." He said, "I saw somebody walk by, and the guy only came up to the axle or something on the wheels, or up to the top of the wheels." Pat, what do you see about underground?
He said one of the big things they're doing here is making these 60-foot spheres out of steel. They're actually 58 feet.
What I was told was the analysts of Semipalatinsk did not know about the gores.
They finally rolled out a 60-foot diameter steel sphere that's part of a containment vessel for a particle beam weapon to shoot down American surveillance satellites. Exactly what Price described.